Her clan abandoned her on the battlefield, but the human medic refused to let her die. The battlefield was littered with smoke, fire, and silence broken only by the faint crackle of burning wreckage. Human soldiers trudged through the devastation, their boots sinking into mud painted with ash and blood. Private Elias Cade, a combat medic, moved slower than the others. His job wasn't to celebrate victory, it was to count the cost. He checked bodies, human and alien alike, pulling out his scanner to confirm signs of life. Most of the fallen were beyond saving. Until he found her. At first, he thought she was another corpse sprawled against the charred remains of a transport skimmer. Her armor was blackened, cracked open where plasma bolts had torn through. But when Elias knelt and placed 2 fingers on her throat, he felt the faintest flutter of a pulse. The alien woman's eyes flickered open. They glowed faintly amber, inhuman yet startlingly alive. Her lips parted in a whisper thick with pain. "Why are you still here, human?" Elias pressed a bandage over the wound searing across her ribs. "Because you're still breathing," he said. She turned her head weakly. Beyond them, her own kin, the Vayari warriors, had retreated, leaving their wounded behind. Abandoning her. Elias had heard rumors of this practice. The Vayari never burdened themselves with the weak. To them, survival of the strongest was law. But looking at her now, struggling just to hold on, Elias felt his chest tighten. He should have left. His orders were clear. Stabilize humans only. But his hands kept working, sealing her wounds with quick foam, wrapping her arm to stop the bleeding. "What's your name?" he asked, voice steady even as the war-ravaged air bit into his lungs. She blinked at him, confusion shadowing her gaze. "Lyra, of Clan Shavrak. But they no longer claim me." Elias smirked grimly. "Then you're Lyra, Patient Zero of Clan Cade. And I don't leave my patients behind." Hours passed as the battlefield shifted from chaos to eerie calm. Elias kept her shielded behind the wreckage, administering fluids from his dwindling supply kit. He could hear human patrols sweeping the area. If they found her, she'd be executed on the spot. "You risk your life," Lyra whispered, her voice rasping as she studied him. "Why? We are enemies." Elias glanced at her, wiping soot from his forehead. "You're not my enemy right now. You're just someone bleeding out. If our positions were reversed, would you let me die?" Her silence stretched. Finally she said, "My clan would have. But I would not." That was enough for him. As night cloaked the battlefield, Elias fashioned a stretcher from broken plating and his own jacket. Lyra tried to protest, but her strength had long since abandoned her. He hoisted her up, grunting under the weight, and began the long trek toward the human encampment. Each step was a gamble. Patrol drones buzzed overhead. The shadows of ruined tanks loomed like jagged teeth. He could feel her eyes on him, trying to decipher the madness of what he was doing. "You will be punished," she murmured. "Your people will not forgive this." "I can live with their anger," Elias said. "But I can't live knowing I left someone to die when I could have done something." At the outskirts of camp, he found an abandoned supply shelter. It was small, barely intact, but it would shield her from detection. Elias lowered her onto a makeshift cot, his hands trembling with exhaustion. For the first time, Lyra reached out, her clawed fingers brushing against his wrist. "No one has ever fought for me like this. Not even my own blood." Elias met her glowing eyes, softer now, stripped of the fire she had carried into battle. "Then maybe you were born into the wrong clan." A faint, fragile smile curved her lips. Dawn broke. Human soldiers marched past the shelter, unaware of the secret within. Elias slipped in and out, stealing medical packs, food, and water where he could. Every hour he spent with her, the line between enemy and ally blurred. Lyra began to heal. She could sit up, her voice stronger, her gaze sharper. But with strength came fear. "When your commanders discover this," she said, "they will call you a traitor." Elias knelt beside her, adjusting the bandage at her side. "Maybe. But I've learned something out here. War wants us to forget that we're all people. That we bleed the same, fear the same, hope the same. I won't forget." Her eyes shimmered, not with pain this time, but with something unspoken. "Then, perhaps you are my clan now." The day came when she could walk again. Elias led her to the forest's edge, where paths diverged, one back to the Veyari, another deeper into neutral territory. "This is where we part," he said quietly. She hesitated, then turned to him. "I will not forget you, Elias Cade. You gave me life when my own kind cast me aside." She pressed her hand against his chest. "If fate wills it, we will meet again, not as enemies." And with that, she disappeared into the trees. Elias stood there long after, the echo of her words lingering. On a battlefield meant only for death, he had chosen life. And for the first time in years, he believed it might change more than just one. Elias guided her through the smoke-stained forest until the sounds of war were only a memory. The rising sun cut golden shafts through the trees, painting the world in colors that felt too alive for two soldiers who had nearly died hours before. "This is where the paths split," Elias said, his voice heavy. "If you follow east, you'll find your people. West leads into neutral territory. It's safer, but it's not home." Lyra stood quietly, her amber eyes fixed on him. She had no clan anymore, at least not the one that had abandoned her to die. She had every reason to hate him, every reason to walk away without a word. Yet her hand rose, trembling, and pressed lightly against his chest. "You speak of home," she said softly. "But you gave me something greater. You gave me choice." Elias swallowed hard, the weight of her gaze pressing into him. He wanted to say something, anything, to anchor this moment, but words felt too small. "If fate is kind," she whispered, "we will meet again. Not as enemies. Not as shadows of war. But as something more." Her touch lingered for a heartbeat before she turned, her figure vanishing into the misted woods. Elias stood rooted in place, staring after her long after she was gone. Around him, the forest was alive with birdsong, so painfully at odds with the battlefield they had left behind. He adjusted the empty stretcher on his back, his chest aching with something unfamiliar. Not loss, not duty, but hope. On a battlefield meant for death, he had chosen life. And though she was gone, Elias knew this was not the end. It was only the first chapter of something neither war nor distance could erase.